Hey everybody, I'm Martin Gilmore. I have another lesson for people interested in basic bluegrass guitar playing. Today I thought I would just show you a couple of simple bass lines. Simple doesn't mean easy. Simple bass lines that you can use to play rhythm behind a bluegrass song. Most bluegrass songs, not all of them, but a lot of them are played out of a G position where we would put our capo in different places on the guitar, but use the chords that revolve around the key of G. So I'm going to teach you those just because it's efficient. There's a lot of songs that use those chords. I'm going to use a G5. If you don't know what a G5 is, you should check out my video about the G5 chord, a C chord, and a D chord. It's your standard D chord, all right? We're going to learn to walk up from G to C and then from G to D. So the first one is G in your G chord. You hit your open A string, your A sharp or B flat note, whatever you want to call it, B note, and then you land in C. Now usually I like to play bass lines half time so that they kind of relate to what the bass is doing. So I'll put a strum in between each of the bass notes. Bass, strum, A sharp, B, C, like that. I call that a halftime bass line. Now, you can also play the same bass line without strums in between and play it just over the quarter notes of the measure. And that's cool. It adds a lot of energy to stuff, but it can also be really distracting. So I would encourage you not to play those bass lines too often, those really active, full-time bass lines. Occasionally they're cool, and if there's no singing or anything going on, it can be really cool to play those things. But if there's somebody singing over it, it can be really distracting from the singing, and the singing needs to be featured. The rhythm guitar should be the platform that the song is painted on, not the feature of whatever's going on. So practice those bass lines half time. You can see I try to keep my pinky and my ring finger anchored on a G chord while I play those bass lines, and I play the bass lines with my index finger and my middle finger until I land in the C. That's hard. It's hard to do if you've never done it before, but it gives you a lot of options for texture. If you just want to slide your first finger up to play that, that's okay, and then land in the C. But your middle finger is going to end up on the second fret anyway, so you may as well move it. Sometimes on that last note, if I play the B because I'm moving my ring finger, I'll just strum these top three strings open. It doesn't sound great, but it's okay because it's one little short beat. Not the end of the world if you have to do that. But try to keep those fingers down if you can. All right, that's G to C. The next one, G to D. You start again with a low G note. Your next note is a B with your first finger, then a C note, then a C sharp note, then a D. I just slide my finger up and these fingers come with it. And it kind of sounds out, but that's okay. D. You could use your ring finger if you wanted. And just strum the top three strings open if you needed to, whatever you need to do. Strum it open on just that C sharp note. It's hard to get the C sharp and keep those notes of the G chord pressed down. I understand. You could play it open because it's only one little beat. It probably won't be too bad. Now that same bass line, if you play it without the strums in between, is the bass line from 9-Pound Hammer. In a song like 9-Pound Hammer, that bass line is a feature of the song. It's part of the song. So every time it comes around, you get to play that full-time bass line. And that's fun to do. That song goes, oh, the 9-pound hammer is a little too heavy, body for my size, body for my size. Roll on, buddy, don't you roll so slow. How can I roll when the wheels won't go? That one's a fun one to play because you get to play that bass line every time. But a song like Blue Ridge Cabin Home, well, that's a bad one. A song like Little Cabin Home on the Hill. Well, tonight I'm alone a place to do that bass line kind of two different ways. That sort of becomes the real feature of bass lines, is you can switch around what you're doing with them and use them to create textures. The thing that I try not to do is to play the same kind of bass line two verses in a row. I try to change that stuff up so people's ears don't get drawn to what the rhythm guitar is doing, but I can still use it to tell the band what's going on. Those are handy tools for people who are singing. It's hard to call the chords and sing at the same time, so you can use those bass lines to kind of tell everybody that the chord is changing. But think about what you're doing. Don't play it the same way every time. And if you can, practice those halftime bass lines so that they're a lot less distracting than the full-time bass lines. All right, I hope that helps. More of that stuff to come, but yeah, hopefully that gets you on the right path. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down in the comment section, and like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks very much. Bye.